Hey guys, not been out on No Limit Hold'em. So a student of mine has been playing in apparently the best, toughest, hardest game with the biggest poker brains in the business. All very good. It looks something like this right here on the screen. It's intimidating. But once you figure it out, maybe not quite as intimidating as we thought. And in fact, it turns out that these guys are about as bad as you can possibly be at poker. Now, interestingly, I think this is interesting. And what I'm about to show you is exactly this guy's games that he plays in. But I went through a lot of the footage and I found the toughest games. These are literally the toughest games. I mean, I watched, I don't know, quite a few. And these were the best of these terrible players, and I wanted to just talk about some of these spots. Okay, so yeah, because the commentators are ridiculous, the players are all bad, and let's see just what kind of bad they are. We've got a pretty disciplined fold with the 5-3, but King 4 offsuit cannot help himself, so he limps in, and we go to the flop, King 4, Jack 8, and Jack 8 was the big blind. King 4 is a small blind, so here I think Jack 8 should obviously stab here, and does, and I think that's fine. He has a gut shot, nobody should have any aces. And, yeah, we should just go for it, I think. It is harder for him to rep an ace himself, but if they're doing a lot of limping, he's played with them before, and they're bad players, then probably doesn't matter that much. At 4 or 7? Jeez, it beats guy. Anyway, so back to the action here. So 4-3 offsuit, I think has a tough decision. I'm kidding, of course. So we get a limp in from hijack, which is pretty bad. You shouldn't limp the hijack. Open limp the hijack. Then we get a 3-bet raise. No, ISO raise with ace-2 offsuit. That's a bad raise. In a bad call, a guy cold calls Queen 10 suited is a little more defensible because they are deep, but still bad. And then a limp call out of position. Against two players with Queen 10 suited seems bad too. And here we go to the flop where ace-2 continues his aggression. Probably the best decision made in the hand. The ace-2. This guy here with the hoodie is very aggressive. I've seen him in another video. I mean, he's crazy aggressive. So the ace-2 offsuit doesn't surprise me. It's bad. Every option there was bad except the decision to bet post flop. So first I want to just point out some of the flaws here. And then I want to move on to what are we going to do about it? Let's construct a strategy to beat these guys. And the best players at these really terrible games might be reflective of the types of games that you play in. So looking at the best of the worst might give us a pretty good way, an opportunity to learn, how bad players play bad and what we can do about it. Yeah, this is 5-5, no limit. One thing that confused me when I was first looking at it is I think sometimes they're straddling, and maybe not just straddling from under the gun, but there might be some kind of other weird straddling going on. So we'll look for that, I'm not sure. Like maybe there's, button straddles or something like that, not sure. But sometimes there is a straddle, so if you see like a $10 call and a 5-5 game, that's a straddle. Okay, so yeah, wow, got through. Big blind gets a walk. Come on now, get in the action. And one thing that's nice though is these are pretty fast. Like the dealers keep the games moving. They're real professionals, not the poker players. Although, from what I hear and have gathered, these are some of the pros that are sitting there. Like these are the good players. These are the guys that are taking all the money out of this game in California. So 9-8 offsuit, decided to make the tight full. I'm being, sarcastic. I just mean that if he's going to limp some of this other stuff. $5 to call with the ace-king from hijack. Raises to 20 seems okay. Cut off calling with jack 10 seems... Oh, he folded jack 10. Okay. That can be fine too. Small blind, probably pretty not great. Jack 8 suited versus a hijack open, calling from the small blind, but we'll forgive him for that. It's not the worst call in the world. They aren't probably deep enough with 660 to do that, but you'll have, you know, you'll see that in any kind of live cash game. Players like to play hands like Jack 8 suited when they shouldn't. You know what I mean? If I had Jack 10 suited, I'd probably call there. So it's probably not the end of the world to call with the Jack 8 suited. I think it probably would make a better 3-better fold, and probably just a fold. I'm probably going to be looking for hands that are a little more playable or have better blockers to call. Okay, so here comes the $10 to call with Ace-5 suited, so he's limping in. Or maybe he's the straddle and they're just listing it as a call. So the King-Queen in the straddle pot is going to, where a 5-5-10 pot is raising to 25. Man, that's really weird for small stakes. Like, if anything, they usually raise too big. The Queen 7 offsuit, he's going to go ahead and just go for the call, and the Ace-5 suited is going to call, and the Jack 10 is going to play ball from the worst position possible. And it goes, checks through, which I think seems okay. Jack 10 should bet, and Ace-5 suited can probably call. He's got the gut shot, he can float and steal it on some rivers. He's got the overcard, he's got a pair. Yeah, he's probably doing just fine to call here. I'm very interested to see how the river plays. If like a king, oh, there's the ace. I'm interested to see if he can make this check and fold. So definitely he should be checking, probably, unless he thinks villain is floating a lot and floating without aces, he should fold. Not sure what he actually did do. They didn't say, didn't show, it didn't. And the commentators had obviously better stuff to talk about. Okay, so nothing too crazy happening so far in this hand. Of course, that is a huge raise. They're playing $5 blinds, so that's 7x with 10s. And I guess we're going to flat ace queen. It's kind of gross, but it seems okay. So then he checks back the set, which is probably not great. But I guess if he knows something, like if he knows that Harlan's going to lead into him, and being that Harlan is the aggressive player, but I think also you could make the opposite argument that we're going to get check raised a lot. Wow. So Harlan goes for the check raise. I guess he's just not playing his hand. Like, his hand is just irrelevant. He has a hand that counts for something. Once the flop goes check, he can check call that turn. I mean, you know, in this hand he's beat, but yeah, but to raise it, that's pretty ridiculous. So what kind of assumptions can he be making? He's making the assumption that Peter checked back with some kind of hand that decided to bluff when the 5 came on the turn, and he'll fold it to a raise, I guess. But like, if he was gonna bluff, wouldn't he just bluff the flop, his pre-flop raiser? And can't he rep a 5? If these guys are bad enough to be opening 5s for $30 and opening Ace-5 suited for $30, and he can definitely have like slow plays. I mean, we know that because we see it now. So I think this is a pretty ridiculous raise, and I think
if you listen to the table talk, he announces I'm thinking about just putting it all in. But we can see his cards, we know it's a show.
I think if you put it all in, you just push that right over to Peter. Peter would really appreciate it.
Let's save that for your team later.
Beaster, I agree with you. If I'm Peter on the spot, I literally just flat. Because here's the deal. If he does have a 5, you're going to get that same value we got for raising on the turn on the river anyway, especially since you have position. So it's like, if he has a hand, great, you're going to get more money on the river. If he doesn't have a hand, great, you're probably still going to get more money on the river.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, actually. The commentators kind of nailed it. They nail it so rarely, but I think that's exactly right. Against a very aggressive opponent, if we're trying to set a trap for him, then we shouldn't be changing our mind once we get the lead on the turn.
I do think the optimal play is just to black ball there after Harlan shows aggression, because Harlan's firing the river for sure, no matter what. And heaven forbid if Harlan actually makes an ace or a queen.
Yeah, I think they're actually, I mean, he's not definitely firing the river no matter what for sure, but I think we got a better chance of him either firing the river when we call or him check calling if we bet than we have of making that raise. And, yep, so I guess that's like the first reasonable thing the commentator said the entire time I've watched them. So we get a raise from under the gun +1, and I think that's okay. It's light. I wouldn't do it. It's not terrible. Ace-Jack suited calls, I think that's a little okay, and the 3-bet with 9s is awful. We've got under the gun +1, raise, under the gun +2 call, and we're going to 3-bet 9s. No, we've got a really good set mine. We're nice and deep. Why do we want to turn this into a 3-bet bluff? He's never going to get called by worse. He's never going to get better hands to fold. Yes, he's going to clear out some equity, but a lot of the hands that he's cleaning out, he's going to want to set mine against. And a lot of the hands that he's not cleaning out, that he wants to set mine against, like aces and kings and whatnot, are going to come back over the top, and that's no good. Pocket 9s are not the kind of hand we want to be squeezing when we're deep against an under the gun +1 raise and a flat call from under the gun 2. I think both of the folds after the squeeze were okay. Ace-Jack suited seems kind of close, I guess, but yeah, so I think if we knew that the squeeze could be light, we just want to 4-bet the Ace-Jack suited. I mean, we're not going to have any hands that are worse than Ace-Jack suited that are going to fold, or better, that's the best hand that we're going to probably fold, right? So we should be raising. Did he? Okay, so we have Queen 7 comes in for the raise, Ace 9 3-bets, because we've been waiting for that, and then Queen 7 calls. Okay, so raise, call, Queen 7 out of position. Jeez, Pete. Checking the flop over to the aggro player makes a lot of sense. Check calling the aggro player makes a lot of sense. Now the board gets ugly. Do you really think Harlan has any 6s? Like, what's he doing with this bet? Yeah, that's a tough spot. I wonder if there's something we could have done to avoid that. Just seems like the hand just kind of played itself, right? Like, we're going to raise Queen 7 offsuit. We're going to call a raise out of position with it. No, wait, we're not going to do either of those things. That's why, man. Like, weak hands hit flops in weak ways, right? Like, if he had the kind of range that he should have there, he would have some hands that could play. Like, his range ought to have sets in it. His range ought to have overpairs. His range should not have, like, Queen 7, you know? Like, one pair. It's got a not great kicker, or... You get the idea. Okay, so raises to 15 from under the gun +1 with Queen 10 suited seems a little spewed, but he's deep. I'll let him buy with that. 15 call with 6s is okay. Jack 8 call out of the small blind. He's in the worst position at the table, but he's deep enough. I think I can be okay with this. Now the flush draw has to lead. The 10s have to call. So this should go bet. And then the 10 should call. This guy should call. Okay. 6s should get out of the way. Listen to the commentator. Should he raise with his Queen 10? Well, I mean, it's better than raising, man. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so not a particularly great card to barrel. There's maybe enough other draws and weak pairs that we could consider. Since we're at the bottom of our betting range, we can make like a half pot bet if we're Peter and get this through. We can beat, even if Mailman just folds all of the hands he would have bluffed with and we'd have to fold. and then folds all of his busted draws, we're probably doing okay with a half potter. If we can get him to fold a 10 on occasion too, then we definitely want to fire that river. So with a little information, the river double barrel could go from okay to mandatory. But he actually checked, which, you know, I mean, it's probably not the worst play in the world, but I don't know. I kind of feel too, if he's gonna bet into that many players on the turn with a flush draw like he had, it's a three-way pot, then he's probably kind of, yeah, actually I think he should be going for the double barrel, or he shouldn't be betting in the first place. But I mean, not awful. Like, it's not like raise 5 high from early position awful. Or call with 10-5 against an early position, or overcall with 10-6, or overcall with King-Jack from the small blind. Good Lord. It's hilarious play. This should go... I mean, I don't know what he should do with 5-4 suited. I guess he should bet it. He shouldn't have it. He should bet it. He should bet it. Yeah, King-Jack should fold. He should bet that, because when he raises from early position and the flop is ace, king, queen, he's just supposed to smash that board. Then again, he's not going to be so wide that he has 5-4 suited. So, yeah, but I guess if we're in a situation where we feel like it makes sense to raise 5-4 suited from early position, and we get to a flop of ace, king, queen, and we don't have everybody in the pot, then we should probably see bet that. So I think that's okay. And I think definitely the King-Jack should fold, but then he's got a gut shot and a pair. If he was going to fold on that flop, it just shows how bad the call was pre-flop. So let's limp in with ace-3 suited from under the gun, and then face an ISO, and God, and then the ace-king of Harlan, the most aggressive player at the table, has ace-king. And he just flat calls against an ISO raise. It's just comical. Small blind should be folding. Frederick with the ace-3 suited should obviously be folding. But here we go. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to the flop after a limp, an ISO, and a guy with ace-king. It's the most aggressive player at the table facing an ISO raise. In position, flats the ace-king. Well done, Harlan. Well done. He was apparently waiting for a better hand like ace-2 offsuit or ace-9. These guys are clicking buttons. There definitely are some tendencies that you can see start to come out. Harlan is super aggressive except for when he has a hand. And some of these other guys are very limpy, stationy, and some of these other guys seem to be just a little bit weak tight. So it's going to be a little hard to come up with a general strategy to beat this game, but it's going to be very easy to come up with very exploitative approaches to playing each player in the pool, because they're very far distances away from Nash equilibrium, and unfortunately they're all kind of in different ways. So maybe we just try to play a pretty good strategy pre-flop. Probably tight ranges, big raises. I mean, if people are coming in for, you know, $35 and getting called by King-Jack and stuff, then we can raise a very tight range, and we can go very big. So whatever your normal range would be against reasonable players, chop a lot of it out and increase your raise size to scary big sizing that you shouldn't be able to get away with, but you will, and that'll be a good start to a default strategy. We saw the squeeze with nines, even though that was bad. We saw it get through after an under the gun, well, an early position raise and call. The squeeze with nines got through. So as bad as the squeeze with nines is, that also shows you how good a squeeze with a hand like ace-2 suited might be. So definitely let's look for some spots to squeeze. Because the players are raising too wide, and the main thing is players are calling too wide. And it's really that second thing that adds so much value to the squeeze. Because if you get through the first guy, which should happen a decent amount of the time, you're just almost always going to get through that second guy. So, and even if you get called by one of them, there's dead money in the pot, your head's up, you've got an uncapped range. So a lot of bad things have to happen for it to be bad. But don't do it with 9s.
We're just not going to do it.
Yep, under the gun 2. Let's flick it in with 10-7 offsuit. That's ridiculous. Let's overcall with Jack 10 suited. Makes a little more sense. And I think Ace 8 suited, we should definitely not be raising to 15. I think we should probably just be calling. But if we insist on ISO raising, let's raise to some amount that could get a fold occasionally. Yeah, so I think everybody misplayed their hands again. What is Jack's? How did Jack 6 get here? Okay, guys. Jack 6 offsuit. It goes limp, limp, ISO raise, Jack 6 offsuit. Calls the ISO raise from the small blind out of position. That's bad. It's really, really bad. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through just kind of how hilarious this play is. And I'm going to present this first to my study group, my coaching thread. Like I said, guys, Tito, this is where he plays. He plays with some of these guys. He plays in the same kind of game. It seems like most of the games are even worse than this game. So I'm going to just kind of talk about my thoughts very fast as I'm watching this in real speed and at full speed in real time. And then I think we should find some hands, and we can break those hands down and talk about specific hands. And then I'm going to make another video going along with this series called Stoned the Stones. And we're going to talk about those specific spots. We're going to talk about the opponents, individual opponents, how we want to play against them. And we're going to talk about some specific spots that maybe we'll put ourselves, if we can find somebody doing something that's not stupid pre-flop, then that will be hero, and we'll play the rest of the hand. Assuming that not stupid thing is to not fold. We'll find some like reasonable V-pip, and we will play with that player as hero and talk about the various decision points that come up. Now there's a lot of different ways we could go with this, but let's not call raises with ace 4 offsuit. Good God, like if he had to 3-bet it, if he had to, I could be like, man, you're a maniac, man, but I mean, hell, you're on the button, your opponent's in the cutoff, I guess, sure. But, yeah, man, like to 3-bet ace 4 offsuit, that's pretty crazy. I think we can make a note that Frederick is imbalanced in that his pre-flop value races are small and his bluffs are big. That's a real bad way to be.
20 out. Frederick calls, shows 2 pair. A pretty rough board with spades getting there. A straight and
I think everybody played bad all the way through, but maybe that's a spot we could break down and look at. I'm pretty sure that I guess the one thing I saw that was pathetic is if your opponent is out of position and you just bink 2 pair and he's betting $20 into like $160, that's usually a blocking bet that wants to not be raised. So just treat it like it's a check. Just try to do whatever you would have done had they checked. And if you think that you would have wanted to put $60 in had he checked, put the same $60 in. Because now he's going to be giving himself a better price. So instead of trying to stop you from sticking him to making that check call he doesn't want to make, that effectively makes it so it's harder for him to not make the call he doesn't want to make. What we cannot do, and this is so true in live poker, we cannot allow our opponents to pot control from out of position. And if they make any attempt to do that, there's no way they can do that in a way that we cannot exploit. No, they can't. It's not their place to dictate how big the pot can get, or or put a limit, or stop it from growing. If he's out of position, that's not his place. The best thing he can do to not grow a big pot is to check. That's how you not grow a big pot when you're out of position. Once he bets, we should be doing whatever we were going to do at least. If he bets the size of our bet, then whatever we can call. But if he donk leads really tiny, put that money in like you want to. Don't let that stop you. If anything, it should incentivize you to do that.
more time. He does.
Yeah, this is close, but I think Frederick should fold. I doubt he does.
Frederick will call and.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the worst call in the world. I guess these are the spots. This is why you don't want to play hands like Queen 5 suited. Like, it'd be a lot easier call if you had Ace Queen, right? I mean, you shouldn't have Queen with a 5 kicker there.
So, where you first was firing down, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, showing that you have the queen, you got reverse. I don't call that.
But no, I mean not holding it. I'm saying showing the
Oh, no, I don't call showing it.
Because I always thought it's just better never to show, but I notice a lot of players in that situation where they're good the whole way, get an unlucky river, that they want to show what they're holding. Like, it makes them feel, I think it makes them feel better to show, oh, hey, look, I was at least ahead of you. Like, yeah, I got unlucky. But do you think there's...
Boy, these guys are just brainiacs in that booth, huh?
Showing a card ever?
Alright, raising under the gun to 15. I think, it's backwards. If anything, you should raise bigger from early position.
I mean, that's my way of player. Like, that's my way of looking at you when I say Isaiah. It's really meaning you're an asshole. You're super lucky.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody did anything too stupid here so far. But the hand is young. This bat looks okay. The call, I don't know. He's either going to be way behind, like he is, or slightly ahead. I think he could probably just lay it down. When his opponent's betting it to all those players, I think the queen is just going to have to fold. Yeah, now I think the 10-9 should be looking for a check raise. And he shouldn't get it because Porter should be checking back. Oh, or we're just going to go ahead and bet, huh? So I think 10-9... Given the way that the action went, we maybe should just call and see if we can get more money in from Mailman, who should have something to have not bet again. He's going to have be weighted a little bit towards showdown value, so maybe calling instead. Now, if the pre-flop raiser had bet again, I would have wanted to go for the check raise. Yeah, so there's just like, that's an unfortunate card, and if Porter has the wherewithal to turn his hand into a bluff and he can go like 500, 600, yeah, man, I don't mind this. He's at the bottom of his range. He should know he can't win at showdown. He should know that a lot of his opponent's hands are going to not realize how good they are. Like 10-9 suited is actually not bad. A 10-high flush is like, it's the fourth nuts or something. It's not that bad because the ace and the queen of clubs are already out there, so it's just the king and the jack ahead of you. So it's the third nut flush, but it's a paired board. Porter can have a king of clubs. Porter can have quads, I guess. Yeah, I actually like this bet from Porter a lot, and I think that whatever this other guy's name is, I think he's got a fold. Yeah, I love this bet from Porter. Well done. I think a bigger bet would have been a little bit better. Like, we really should be only here with a polarized range and just turning like our weakest hands like he's got into bluffs, being happy to check back with a lot of our hands, and then taking like maybe the king of clubs, maybe the jack of clubs, maybe not. And then if we have any full houses, then bet those. Yeah, I think our betting range should look something like exactly what he has, and any other like counterfeited bluff catchers, pocket whatevers. Yeah, we should be bluffing with a lot of those types of hands, and we should be value betting like the nut flush or better. Maybe we sometimes have quads. Maybe we sometimes have at least trips. I guess we can have trips. Maybe, and we'll have full houses for sure. No, it's not posturing. He's got a tough call. Oh, he did make the call. Sick call, bro.
Jay says, let's see it. He wants to know what Porter has. Porter does not want to show. However, now that the delay's caught up, Dave can just look right up on the screen and see what it was. And Porter not wanting to sit there and talk about what he was doing, especially when he's making a block like that. He doesn't want to give away his capabilities, right? Because it weakens his ability in the future to hold off again.
Yeah, I actually think that the kid should have folded, but I also think that if we're going to be that polarized, we should be using, and of course we're going to be polarized, we're going to be betting like monsters and bluffs. We're not going to be betting two pair, we're not going to be betting sets, we're not going to be betting three of a kind, but we can kind of take advantage of the fact that maybe our opponent doesn't know that, or I guess we don't have sets, but, yeah, we should be betting very strong hands and bluffs, and that means we should be going very big. And if we would have went big, as long as he tanked with the 10 high flush, he probably would have folded. If we would have made it like a little bit of an overbet, like 1.5x pot, I think would have got that done. And of course it would have got it done against weaker hands. Don't mind the 3-bet here. I don't mind the open. I don't mind the fold. I think all this is fun. Well, yeah, I guess until next time, guys, that's going to wrap it up. So the idea of the series is I want to help Tito out. I want to give this to the guys in the poker group so we can help him out in the process. We'll all get better as poker players. These are the actual players that he's up against. So, yeah, these are the good ones, guys. But yeah, there should be a lot of good stuff, interesting hands, things to talk about, things to discuss. This is the same group of guys, and this is specifically to the coaching study group thread thing. This is the exact game where the clowns got into the ace-king thing, where the guy calls and then, like, goes for a check raise on a paired board or whatever with ace-king against ace-king. Okay, so, don't remember what happened, but checking pocket nine seems okay. Betting king-jack or checking it, I can think are both going to be relatively similar in EV versus a non-procedural check on the flop. We're going to either commit to double barreling a ton. So maybe Cornbread here should have bet flop, bet turn, but given that he did not bet flop, I think he doesn't want to do anything goofy like raise turn. Probably with the king-jack, king-queen, we can just flick into call. We're in position. Good things happen when you're in position. If villain checks, we can bet. If he bets, we can either raise or fold. I think both options will be good. Yeah, definitely. Let's pile in like $400 here. Okay, so Millman caps his range here. He checked back the flop, right? Or he checked the flop. He checks again. No, that's way too small. Way too small. I think we want to go like 700 here. And just be like, good luck, sir. If you actually checked the hand on the flop that you wanted to bet on the turn and trap with on the river, you just knew that I'd have exactly the right hand to do this with, yeah. Cornbread, you screwed up. You had the right thought, but you lacked the courage of your conviction. That should have been more like a $700-800 bet, and we get it done. So maybe we should be talking over bets in class. Maybe that's the next class thing to do. Alright guys, if you want to sign up for coaching or you want to be a part of the group, you can let me know, dondoust@gmail.com or comment section. I read, right now I'm reading pretty much every comment. I think I'm reading all of them. Yeah, until next time guys, Navinat over and out. Good.
You have to kind of like think out the entire game play out, like